In episode 154 of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we discuss the 5 supplements you should consider taking. You can find the show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/154. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Hello. Every time that I do an episode on supplements, I get a lot of feedback from folks, and I really do appreciate that. If you do have questions about what you hear on any of my podcasts, I do appreciate you reaching out to me. You can do that through the website at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com, or you can email me at alan@older.fitness. Anyway, the first thing I want to start out when we start talking about supplements, because I think it can be very, very confusing, and unfortunately there's a lot of bad players out there in the supplement industry, is that a supplement is meant as a supplement, not as a primary food source. So if you're not able to get these things from real food, then that's where a supplement can come in handy. Certain times of the year, certain supplements are better than others. It just, again, it's really going to come down to your personal needs and where you are and what's going on with you. And if you're unable to get these things from real food, I would always stress that, for the most part, supplements should just be something that you're using to kind of make yourself a little bit better, to perform a little bit better, or just to avoid illness because you're not able to get certain things in your foods, or in your body, particularly during certain periods of time. So the first one I want to talk about is probably the most common supplement that people are taking now, and that's fish oil. And I talked pretty extensively about fish oil in episode 39. You can find that at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/39. And, I'll kind of recap what I talked about on that episode. But the basic gist is this. I know a lot of people can't stomach fish. They don't want to eat fish. And that's very unfortunate because I think there's a lot of varieties of fish, some maybe a little bit more fishy than others. And unless you've tried many of them and tried it prepared different ways, I'm not sure that you can really say that you don't like fish, but I think people get a bad vision of it, a bad view of it. And obviously, if you're not enjoying your food, you're not going to eat it. So if you decide you do need to take fish oil, and again, it's health protective for your heart, it's health protective for your joints, for your brain, you do need this kind of oil, particularly the omega-3 oil that you're getting from the fish oil. Or you can use krill oil or something like that. But I think, most of us are going to look to fish oil first. You can use it, and you can take quite a bit of it without any real ill effect. You're probably going to have some bowel issues before you'd really damage yourself or hurt yourself with fish oil. But it is a supplement that I take regularly when I'm not eating a lot of fish. So particularly if I'm traveling or just in a situation where I'm not going to be exposed to fresh fish, if I'm not near the source where that fish is caught, I tend to want to try to avoid it. If I can't buy from a reputable market, then, it's another time that I'll probably consider not buying fish. So, when you take fish oil, there is one strong consideration, and that is that fish oil can go bad. It can go rancid. It's not a stable oil. When you buy it, you should probably put it in the refrigerator so it's sitting in a cool, dark place. You should never expose fish oil to heat, and you need to kind of keep it out of oxygen and light as well because it will oxidize and go rancid. Every once in a while, you should crack open one of the little gel caps and smell that oil. And it will smell a little fishy, but it should not smell bad fishy. So, every once in a while when you get one or when you buy a new set, you don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelf. Try to source your fish oil from a reputable vendor and you won't have much problems with it. But again, you need to check it out and make sure that you're not taking rancid oil because that's worse for you than not taking the fish oil. So again, check your oils and make sure that, again, that they've not gone rancid. And most oils will go rancid if exposed to light heat. It's only the saturated fat oils that tend to be stable at room temperature and not have as much risk of going rancid, but they can as well. The next supplement I want to talk about is probably one of the most tested behind fish oil, but as a general supplement, creatine is extremely popular among athletes, and it does have some great benefits
when you're using it. I talked about it in depth at episode 79. So you can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/79. And in that episode, I did talk about the physical aspects of creatine is part of a precursor for your energy sourcing of your muscles. So you are going to more than likely be able to see some benefits in your lifts and your strength when you're taking creatine. There's also some science evidence to kind of suggest that creatine is good for your brain as well. So it is a supplement that I take from time to time. It's not something that I take all of the time. It just is something that I cycle on and off. You don't have to cycle on and off of creatine if you get a good brand, a good kind, but I just like to occasionally get off of it. Part of the reason that I do that is that creatine also makes your muscles carry a little bit more water. So if I'm carrying around like an extra 5 pounds of water, sometimes I just look a little bloated, and I don't like that look on me. So, if I'm working on a strength cycle and really want to get strong, I'll go ahead and start dosing with creatine. If I'm not, then I'll go off of it. But it is a supplement that I use regularly and do cycle on and off. The next one I want to talk about is vitamin D. And most people, particularly those that live in the north and don't get a lot of sun exposure, and granted, we have office jobs, most of us, so we're indoors most of the day. We're not getting exposed to the sun like we should be. And as the result, we're not making the vitamin D that our body needs. Our body can make all the vitamin D that it needs. We just have to be able to get out into the sun to get that exposure. Not to the point of sunburn, but to a point where we are getting some exposure every day. And if we are getting that exposure, we probably don't have a problem with vitamin D. But if you're living up north, if you're not getting that exposure to the sun, this is something to consider. You can, when you get your blood tested, if you do an extended panel, have your vitamin D checked. And that's probably the best way to know if you need to supplement with vitamin D. There is vitamin D in some foods, but again, if you're not getting enough of it, vitamin D is a good supplement to consider adding. So, have your blood checked if you really want to know if you've got a deficiency there, and then have your vitamin D checked. I'm a fairly active person, but I still don't get enough sunlight to make the vitamin D that I need. I don't drink milk products. I do eat some dairy, some cheeses, but not enough to get the vitamin D that I need. So I will take a vitamin D supplement fairly regularly, and particularly during the winter months. And I think that's important for you to understand is, again, during the winter months, or if you're living further north, you're not likely to get enough sun to make the vitamin D that you need. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is multivitamins. And these come in different forms, and they can come in really cheap chewables. They can come in really expensive pharmaceutical levels. I always go high grade on my vitamins because I want to know that what I'm getting is actually going to be absorbable and usable by my body. A lot of the vitamins that they manufacture, because they are manufactured, these are not pulled from real food. They're literally making the chemical equivalent of those vitamins in a lab. But you want to make sure that there's been some testing on these, and that you are getting a good brand. I'm not going to say that you should or shouldn't buy these from the grocery store, but the general, in general, I think you should be getting most of your vitamins and minerals from your food. The reason that I tend to sometimes go with this is right now I'm working myself into ketosis. So I'm not eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. That means, again, I'm not getting vitamin C necessarily that I need, and some of the other vitamin A maybe I'm not getting enough of. So there's those vitamins that I'm probably not getting enough of from my standard foods. I'm eating some leafy greens, but probably not enough to get the iron that I need. So I'll take a multivitamin pretty regularly when I'm doing something like this, because I know that I'm not getting the variety of food. And that's why it's very important when you are choosing your foods to make sure that you really do focus on a good variety. Your plate should be very colorful. That way you know that you're kind of mixing and matching and getting the different vitamins and minerals that you need. But if you have that concern that you're not getting all that you need, you can buy a multivitamin. Now, of course, a multivitamin, the water-soluble parts of it, the vitamin C and vitamin B, if you're getting more than you can absorb at any given time, you're just going to pee that out. So just realize that that's the dollars you're paying for the vitamins. You're going to see some of that happen. But if you are concerned, like I said, I'm working on ketosis. I'm not eating any fruits, so I'm probably not getting any vitamin C.
I do need that vitamin C, so a multivitamin works for me during this period of time. If I go off of ketosis and start trying to eat more fruits, particularly those that would have vitamin C in them, then I'm less likely to need a multivitamin, and I'll roll off of them. Again, it's a supplement to the food that I eat, and I base my usage of these supplements on how and what I'm eating at the time. The last one I'm going to go into is magnesium. And I take a product, ZMA. It's got zinc and magnesium in it. And magnesium is a sleep agent. It'll actually help you sleep better. So I'll take this ZMA at night right before I go to bed. It has occasionally given me what they call lucid dreaming, which is a state kind of where you feel like you're awake, but you're asleep. I think many of us have experienced that, where we're really, really good in deep sleep and feel like we're steering our dreams. And it's a pretty interesting state. Sometimes I wake up not feeling as rested as I thought I should, not thinking I slept nearly as long as I should. But it is a good sleep. It is one of those times when I'm taking magnesium that I really do fall asleep very easily, and I get into really, really deep sleep very, very easily. So if you're struggling to sleep, consider a magnesium supplement. It is a way to make sure that you're giving your body what it needs to get into a good deep sleep. So to kind of recap those, again, supplements are supplements. So you really only need these for the particular purposes and to fill where you're not getting these things from food. And the first one was fish oil. Again, focus on the quality of the fish oil. Make sure it hasn't gone rancid. Protect it, store it well. And, if you can get it from fish, you should. Creatine, again, does have great strength benefits. You're going to help your strength with creatine. You are going to be doing some mind benefit by taking creatine, but it is going to bloat you a little bit. It is going to make you carry a little bit of extra water. So if you're sensitive about how much you weigh, it is going to add some weight. It's water weight, it's not fat. But if you're going to focus on the scale, you're not going to be happy with the effects of creatine. You're going to be stronger while you're lifting, which, that's why you're doing it. That's the benefit. But the cost is you are going to bloat a little bit. The next one was vitamin D. And again, if you're getting plenty of sunlight, if you work out of doors and you're getting plenty of sunlight, you probably don't need vitamin D. You can have your blood checked, but again, just kind of know whether you're getting enough sun or not, and then you can decide and what vitamin D you might be getting from your foods, and then you can decide if a vitamin D supplement is for you. The next one that I got into was multivitamins. Again, only to supplement the foods that you're not getting. Specialized situations like where I'm trying to go into ketosis, that's time when multivitamin can be valuable. And then finally, magnesium, which helps me sleep. What I'll do is I'll go and put a couple links to some products in the show notes. So if you go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/154, I'll have a few links to some products that I feel are probably the best of these. I'm not going to link to fish oil, and I'm not going to link to multivitamins. I'll let you guys work those out because I go kind of high end with those. I don't buy those from a retailer. The creatine and the vitamin D and the magnesium I do buy from a retailer because those are generally good quality, the ones that I have found. But I'll definitely link to those. And again, if you need the supplements, take the supplements. Otherwise, it can be a big waste of money if you're already getting it from your food, which is what I strongly recommend, obviously. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you share it with friends and family? Thank you. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we meet with Mark Williams and discuss his book, The Art and Science of Aging Well. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.